Breaking news, at least 2 people are dead after a car exploded at the U.S.-Canada border. What we're learning about the moments leading up to that explosion. Americans across the country are heading out for what could be the busiest travel season in years. How conditions are looking here at home, on the road, and in the skies. Some victims of car theft are now taking the law into their own hands, how they're finding their stolen cars in some unexpected places.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
We have breaking news out of New York State. Officials say 2 people are dead after a car explodes on the Rainbow Bridge border crossing between the United States and Canada. That explosion came from a car entering the U.S. from the Canadian side of the border. Now, according to police, the driver cleared the first checkpoint and was sent to a second for further inspection. The vehicle then apparently exploded, prompting the closing of the 4 border crossings in the area. New York Governor Kathy Hochul says there's no indication this was a terrorist attack at this time. However, we spoke with Air Force Brigadier General John Teichert about the next steps. He says it's too early to tell, and investigators are still examining all evidence.
The FBI has already stood up this interagency task force. They're in the lead. They're working also with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police on the Canadian side. And they're trying to determine whether this was terrorism, and then ultimately to determine the next steps of whether, if it is terrorism, what types of enhanced security measures would be wise to take in case this is more than just a lone wolf attack.
And police say they still don't know what caused the explosion at this time. This is a developing story. Stay with Fox 45 News for the latest updates on air and online. Mary?
Kai, thank you. Well, AAA expects this year to be the busiest for travel in years, and whether you're taking to the roads, the rail, or the skies, you could experience some delays. Here's a look at conditions across our region with crowds of last-minute Thanksgiving travelers heading out from BWI, but it looks pretty good there, actually. Traffic's still busy on the Bay Bridge and I-95, but it is flowing along. It's great. Well, stay with Fox 45 for everything you need to know for your holiday commute. Coming up, we'll have a look at travel in the nation's capital, with more than 1 million drivers expected to hit the roads in D.C. And good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala. As Baltimore's stolen vehicles crisis continues, some residents aren't waiting on police to find their cars. They are looking themselves, and several have ended up in what seems to be becoming a popular dumping spot. Fox 45's Vincent Hill has more on where these cars are showing up in Southwest Baltimore.
A lot of people taking the law into their own hands when looking for their stolen cars. A lot ending up here under this overpass of 95 near Mayoral Park.
Just under the noisy traffic of Interstate 95 sits a no dumping sign. But for car thieves,
no surveillance.
This underpass near Mayoral Park, a dumping ground for stolen cars. These pictures posted to social media showing several stolen Hyundais and Kias, posted by desperate owners in search of their vehicles.
I used to live down one of these blocks where there is a dead end. And
this woman, who lives in the area, not wanting to show her face,
they used to run them into the Jersey walls,
but says she's seen several stolen cars dumped by the overpass.
Crime's illegal, except in Baltimore.
Marcus Strider of the Guardian Angels patrols the Mayoral Park area.
Think about this. We're almost 10,000 stolen cars. 10,000 stolen cars in Baltimore.
The latest BPD data shows 9,720 cars have been stolen as of November 11th. The most current data not released until next week.
You would think that at some point when you steal 5, 6 cars, okay, we got to bump, we got to do something a little bit better.
Fox 45 reached out to BPD about the cars posted to social media and asked the following: have the cars been confirmed stolen? Did officers recover the vehicles? And will BPD be patrolling the area given that cars are being dumped there? So far, we have not heard back.
This is insanity. This is madness. This is repetitive. It is escalated to a point where it's a national embarrassment.
Although BPD hasn't answered our questions, we did speak with a resident here who says he witnessed BPD towing those cars from the area. And of that 9,720 cars stolen, 452 taken in carjackings. In Baltimore, Vincent Hill, Fox 45 News.
Well, lawmakers will soon be back in Annapolis tackling many issues for the 90-day legislative session. Juvenile crime will no doubt be a major topic. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost has more with what we're learning.
A few Democratic lawmakers are asking the public for patience with the current juvenile justice laws before any major changes are made. But some top prosecutors in Maryland are saying there's no time to waste. From near the nation's capital to Baltimore, even in quiet suburban neighborhoods.
I've never thought of being robbed in my driveway.
Young people are committing crimes, and those crimes are getting the attention of some leaders around the state.
We have to address the public safety. We can't turn a blind eye to the public safety component of this problem.
The two laws at the center of the debate, one preventing kids 13 and younger from facing nonviolent misdemeanor charges, another requiring an attorney to be present during questioning of a juvenile by law enforcement. Several states' attorneys calling for change, especially when we're seeing car theft numbers around the state being driven up by young offenders.
Those would not be considered a crime of violence. So anyone from 10 to 12 who gets involved in something like that doesn't come to us. We can't charge them.
Really what we're seeing is just delaying this delinquent behavior that turns into adult criminal behavior. And we need to get to these youth sooner.
In Montgomery County Tuesday night,
juvenile justice is about reform. It's not about punitive actions.
Senator Will Smith, chair of the powerful Senate Judicial Proceedings Committee, says change takes time.
Laws that we put in place are going to take a couple of years to fully see the kind of the fruit of the foundations that we've laid and the seeds that we've planted.
And making his stance on major changes clear.
I, for one, am not interested in rolling back the reforms that we put in place last year.
What those tweaks to the laws will be haven't been clearly discussed, at least not publicly, by Democrats who control both chambers of the legislature. Rich Gibson, state's attorney in Howard County and president of the Maryland State's Attorneys Association, previously telling Fox 45 News he's optimistic there will be adjustments to current policy.
Do you think that lawmakers will really take this seriously when session returns?
Yeah, I believe that lawmakers, again, we're all partners. I do believe they're acting in good faith.
In response to Senator Smith's latest comments, Gibson says Senator Smith has indicated he is willing to work with the prosecutors to draft tweaks to the existing law. For some leaders, though, comments like this from the leader of the Department of Juvenile Services.
Nationally and in Maryland, as juvenile incarceration has declined, so has juvenile crime.
Are creating more frustration than solutions.
My real concern is that there continues to be, at least to a small degree, some downplaying of the nature of the problem.
The statements of the Secretary about the falling numbers in terms of juvenile crime that's not what we've seen here in Montgomery County.
With conversations continuing surrounding how to tackle the juvenile crime crisis in Maryland, Democratic leadership indicating major changes to current laws aren't likely. Senator Smith tells me that there needs to be more training so that everyone understands what's allowed under these current juvenile justice laws. Meanwhile, Governor Westmore says he will unveil his own juvenile crime plan, but so far, the public hasn't seen it. In the newsroom, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Here in Baltimore, Fox 45 News has repeatedly pressed Mayor Brandon Scott on juvenile crime. The mayor has criticized the Department of Juvenile Services, calling it a broken system.
We have to build a juvenile justice system that works from the ground up. Every single portion of it has to be looked at. I've been talking about that for years now, as you know.
That was more than a month ago. Since then, the mayor hasn't specified what changes he would like to see.
We have great people in Baltimore. I love this city, and I really want to bring us all together so that we can solve the problems of crime. We have vacant homes, we have food insecurity, and the biggest thing is youth violence, and we need to really get that under control.
Another candidate throwing her name into the Baltimore mayoral race, Wendy Bozell, holding a press conference at City Hall announcing an endorsement from the Maryland Forward Party. She is a single mom, a Baltimore teacher, and president of the Upper Fells Point Improvement Association. Bozell saying her top priorities include addressing the juvenile crime crisis, vacant homes, and other key issues facing the city. And while there are other candidates, polls indicate the election will likely come down to Mayor Scott and former Mayor Sheila Dixon. The battle between those two candidates already brewing, with both addressing recent crime throughout the city.
I have to deal with the city on a regular basis with my clients, and I can see the dysfunction, not in one agency, but practically in every agency. And that is reflected of the leadership.
Leadership that's failing the city is almost a laughable comment when my leadership has the city on pace to be under 300 homicides for the first time in 9 years.
The latest Goucher poll shows if the election were held today, only 27% would vote to re-elect Mayor Scott, 39% would vote for Dixon. Israel's ceasefire agreement could bring the longest pause so far in the weeks-long war with Hamas. What they're now saying about the timeline for Hamas to release dozens of hostages.
The White House celebrating an economy moving in the right direction. I'm Christine Frizzell in Washington with why some say not so fast.
And after a gloomy day, we're getting ready for a nice and sunny Thanksgiving. Then temperatures in the mid-50s for Black Friday, but a cool down follows on Saturday. I'll let you know what to expect for the holiday and after that in my full forecast.
Fox 45 News, winner of 16 2022 Regional Emmy Awards, more than all other Baltimore news stations combined.
Israel has agreed to a temporary ceasefire in the war with Hamas, but now Israeli officials say no hostages will be released before Friday as talks continue. The deal includes a 4-day ceasefire from both sides in exchange for at least 50 of the roughly 240 hostages held by Hamas. Israel is also expected to release a significant number of Palestinian prisoners. Fighting continued today ahead of the ceasefire, with the death toll in Gaza surpassing 14,000. Well, the Monday following Black Friday, always known as Cyber Monday, has become one of the top shopping days of the year. But online shopping comes with risks. Scams that steal your money, personal information, or even download viruses onto your computer have never been more prevalent. Fox 45 News spoke with the Better Business Bureau this morning about what you need to know to protect yourself.
Make sure that you type the URL correctly, because a lot of scammers will impersonate a website by using Target with 2 T's or Best Buy with 2 B's.
Okay.
So check your URL.
Another one I thought was really good that I wouldn't have necessarily thought about because it's just usually that way, but you say keep your antivirus software up to date. Now's a really good time for that.
Perfect time. It's a way to notify you if you land on a website that's not secure. That kind of software can help notify you if you're on a bad website.
Even if you're not shopping, make sure you're on high alert. Many scams will reach out to you in texts, emails, or calls claiming to deliver a gift in exchange for personal information. Always best to erase those emails and text messages and hang up the phone. Contact the company they claim to be with directly before giving out any information. Well, many of us have made several trips to the grocery store in recent days and to fill up our cars with gas. And while the sting of some of those prices isn't quite as dramatic as last year, there is evidence Americans are still down on the state of the U.S. economy. Sinclair National Correspondent Christine Frizzau explains.
It's the type of inflation you're not supposed to notice.
And I was like, wait, no, something feels weird because they felt like different weights.
A now viral TikTok video lays it all out.
The new cake mix is 14.25 ounces or 403 grams, and the original recipe was 16.25 ounces or 460 grams.
The website mouseprint.org catalogs it all, from brushing our teeth to washing our clothes. Even our dogs are being hit with what's known as shrinkflation. Less product for the same price.
This unopened cheese stick looks like it was cut in half. Packages of gum have started adding a thumb grip in order to not give you an extra piece.
It's a trend playing out as top officials work to give the U.S. economy that soft landing that was predicted, with White House economists celebrating nearing an inflation rate economists consider normal. Consumer prices in October falling to 3.2% year over year. Still, the latest NBC News poll showing just 38% of voters approve of the way President Biden is handling the economy. 59% disapprove.
I acknowledge there's a disconnect between the numbers and how people feel about their place in the world right now.
But critics argue the disconnect is based on 2 factors. The inflation rate is understated, and the cumulative impact of rising prices is hurting Americans' bottom lines.
Overall prices, if you look back over the whole Biden administration, are much higher than when he took office, more than 20% higher overall. And there's no reason to think that the necessary war against inflation has been won.
That war will no doubt be a top priority for President Biden, who has seen a dip in his poll numbers, not just in his handling of the economy, but in a head-to-head matchup against the man he beat in 2020, former President Donald Trump. In Washington, I'm Christine Frizzau.
Right now, you're taking a look over Baltimore and over Towson. We are nice and dry, and you can see that on the HD radar. That weather maker that led to rain has now cleared. We're still seeing a few spotty showers, but much better for those traveling tonight or even tomorrow. 53 currently and mostly cloudy over Baltimore. Winds have picked up. It's breezy with winds out of the west-northwest around 17 miles per hour. Around the state, we're seeing temperatures in the 40s and the 50s, and the numbers are now starting to drop. But again, nice and dry. We're seeing a few areas with showers in parts of New York, Pennsylvania, even West Virginia, a little bit of light rain, and we do have some winter weather toward Maine. The heavy rain, though, that much of the region dealt with is now over the Atlantic, and it's much drier and quieter across our region, good for traveling. Overnight, we'll drop to the upper 30s and the low 40s for a mild start, and then a gorgeous day tomorrow with plenty of sunshine for the holiday. Into the weekend, we'll have lower temperatures. We're talking the 40s by Saturday. However, we stay nice and dry over the next several days and into next week. Overnight, we'll have a few clouds to start, but the clouds clear by sunrise. We'll start tomorrow with plenty of sunshine and low temperatures in the 30s and 40s. Then by the afternoon, still looking nice and sunny around the state as temperatures reach the low to mid 50s. Then more clouds move in before Black Friday morning. We'll wake up to cloudy skies, keeping the clouds throughout the afternoon and into the evening, but we stay nice and dry for all of the shoppers, and we'll continue with that dry pattern over the weekend. 41 for the low temperature tonight with mostly cloudy skies and breezy conditions with gusts up to 20 miles per hour. We're looking at highs around 56 with plenty of sunshine tomorrow, but again, breezy with gusts up to 25 miles per hour. I'll have a closer look at what you can expect for Black Friday and into the rest of the weekend and into next week in the exclusive 10-day forecast.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
A pre-Thanksgiving storm blew through the Northeast this morning, leaving several inches of snow behind from New York to New England. The morning before that storm moved through Baltimore, the sunrise turned skies over the city's inner harbor a deep red. And folks west of Minneapolis, Minnesota received a holiday week treat as the Northern Lights put on a fantastic sky show.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
Traffic could spell trouble for more than 1 million travelers hitting the road in D.C., how they're preparing to head home for the holidays. AAA expects nearly 50 million people will travel by car this holiday season, with more than 1 million of those travelers in the nation's capital. Tom Rousey from our Sinclair sister station in D.C. lets us know what drivers can expect out there.
I'm coming from Falls Church, Virginia, and I'm going to Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Kate Perko is one of 1.25 million people in the D.C. region that AAA predicts will be traveling for Thanksgiving by car this year.
That's actually the second highest number for Thanksgiving holiday for those driving that we've actually seen on record.
Now, most people would not call gas prices cheap, but they are cheaper than last year. The average for a gallon of regular in the D.C. area is $3.30 right now. At this time in 2022, it was $3.59, nearly 30 cents more expensive.
Gas prices are trending lower, which will certainly bode well for that large number of people that will be driving this holiday.
With many flight prices also lower than last year, more than 90,000 people locally are expected to travel by air for Thanksgiving. An 8% increase from last year, but still below pre-pandemic travel numbers. Reagan National today saw heavy traffic outside, and inside this afternoon things were busy too, but not chaotic, as many try to get out of town any way they can before things get even busier.
I know tomorrow's a pretty crazy travel day, so I tried to schedule my day so I could leave earlier.
Now that said, many have left before today. AAA says the increase in remote working from the pandemic has created opportunities for some people to leave earlier than they used to.
So that does provide some flexibility to people, particularly if they don't have an issue with their kids being in school or something like that, where they can get out a little bit earlier.
We are getting ready for a very nice Thanksgiving. We're talking plenty of sunshine and temperatures just above average at 56. It will be a little breezy at times, but Friday will be calmer. We'll have mostly cloudy skies and temperatures around 55. That's followed by 44 on Saturday, so a big cool down, then 50s and 40s for the rest of the week. Mary?
Jasmine, thank you. Well, finally tonight, the holiday season is the time for giving back to the community. Earlier today, Goodwill, along with Mayor Scott and other city leaders, hosted the 66th annual Thanksgiving dinner and resource fair at the Baltimore Convention Center. The event connected people in need with resources such as housing, substance abuse, domestic violence, and mental health assistance.
This season is really about also lifting up those who don't have as much as you, making sure that you're giving back. Looking forward to doing that. Spent Saturday afternoon and evening giving out turkeys and food directly to families, delivering them to their houses. Looking forward to doing that with Christmas gifts in a few weeks. This is the time for all of us to wrap our arms around all of our neighbors, especially those who might need a little bit more love and a little bit more help during the holiday season.
This is my favorite event of the whole year, because we get to see, how we're helping people, and what we really ultimately hope to see is that people come back next year as volunteers.
Organizers say you can help those in need by donating to Goodwill stores across the region. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. So nice. So many are getting a good, hot, beautiful meal there. Well, that's all for Fox 45 News at 6. Family Feud's up next. We'll see you back here for the news at 10 tonight. Have a great night. Good night.